And a great good morning to every viewer who's watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, not just another channel. This is Camnet TV. I'm your host. My name is Sarah Chandamvang, and joined by me, my other host is Precious Mosea Sakaleji. Precious, good morning.
For the fact that you said my name so correctly, I owe you lunch. Not today, not tomorrow, or some days to come, but just one day.
So when is that?
Just one day, Sarah.
Precious, I think you should take me for a vacation. Last time we had to talk about it, you know?
Where do you want to go?
I think, obviously, Siavonga Livingstone would do.
That's not, Siavonga is just like 3 hours drive.
Yeah.
I'll tag you along once I finalize with the Camnet package.
Okay.
It's important.
It's very much.
To refresh and reflect.
Definitely.
Yeah, but how has been your week?
It has been okay. I'm so glad that I finished my exams.
Woo!
Yeah, I deserve it.
That's the clear law.
You've said, oh,
Anyway, how were they though?
you know, exams are exams.
You
Yeah.
can never be ready for
True,
them.
exactly. Yeah. But it was okay, though somehow hard. But it's an exam.
But
yeah, you know better.
Yeah, you'll clear.
Yeah, I will clear.
But anyways, like Sarah mentioned, welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show. Yes, of course. And we've got so many things outlined for you. There's so many stuff that has been happening in the course of the week. We're looking at the SEC hunts that have been going on, and also bells that have been denied and then later on accepted. Talk of the likes of Mr. Bowman Sambo and Mr. Ronald Stotela, and also a lot of people that are back and forth in the courts of law and settlements and stuff like that, Mr. Melengo Lungu. And also on the other side, how Labor Day went for those that celebrated. There's quite a lot of things that happened in the course of the week. And also we're right here to make sure that you're updated on anything that you actually missed out in the course of the week. So we'll look into things that caught our attention in the course of the week on the news desk that's zooming into the headlines. And then later on we'll look at what we have on our health corner for today. But for now, let's get into our first conversation of the day, which is Morning Boost. We'll join you on the other side. Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Bulls, and this is Isaac Matsa. I hope you had a great night, and let's do the workout together. So today is going to be very basic, and if you've noticed, there have been some 25 push-ups going around social media, some people accepting the challenge. We're going to do 25 push-ups as well, but in our own special way. Let's do a warm-up now. Let's go. We're going to do a warm-up, and then later on we're going to do the push-ups. So let's do a warm-up quickly. A warm-up phase. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you had a great night. Wake up your kids. Let's do it together. Let's do a warm-up, marching. Then we're going to do push-ups. Let's go. Keep going. And back to marching. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. 25 push-ups we're going to do today. Tell your hubby it's doable. Tell your wife it's doable. Let's go. Easy jumping. Just like that. Stay at it. All right. Okay, I guess your body should be warm by now. Your breathing rate has to change if you did the right way. 25 push-ups. I'm gonna break it down in 5 fives, okay? So let's go, the first push-ups, very easy. You kneel down, cross your legs, and go down. 5 of them, very easy, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the first set. We've got 20 more to go. Let's go. Second push-up. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 15 more to go. That's 10. We're doing a 25 push-up challenge. I'm gonna change now. 5 more. 5, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 20. If you noticed, I did double. 5 more to go. Last 5, then we're done with the push-up. Okay, here you go. 5 only. Go down with the tap. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, that's the challenge you had today. 25 push-ups, and let's start winding now. March, march, march. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you enjoy the push-ups. This is Isaac Maxa signing out. I'm gonna see you next time. Thank you.
Welcome back. Like we always say after that segment is that you don't have to wait for the breakfast show to come through for you to actually exercise. Exercising is a very important what would you call it? Exercising is a very important exercise of someone's life.
Yeah, definitely. It's very much important, you know, because it helps out, especially those having certain conditions in their body. So it's very much important that you work out once in a while. Not really once in a while, but I think every day would do.
Every day, like in a week, at least 2 times.
Yeah,
minimal 2 times.
Minimum 2 times. Yeah.
The most is you need at least a day to rest if you're gonna be working out throughout. I can see your exercise is quite working. I've seen some improvement. So
the results showing.
Yeah, the results are showing. But anyways, remember that you can get interactive with us right here in the studio on 0968675472, or you can actually get to our Facebook platform and comment on a topic of discussion that you feel is necessary, depending on the stories that we have zooming into the headlines, which is Mr. Bowman Nsambo finally being granted 20,000 kwacha cash bail, and also Mr. Ronald Chitotela being granted bail of the same amount. So now the matter that is in court is the matter of the case of having property suspected to be proceeds of crime, and also on the other side. So now remember that these are the stories that we'll be looking at zooming into the headlines. But right about now, let's get into the health corner.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Dr. Masole Chipoya. I'm an epidemiologist at the Zambia National Public Health Institute and a member of the Medical Women's Association of Zambia. Today we have a very important topic and something that is very timely. We'll be discussing polio. So as you may have heard, we have a polio outbreak in the neighboring country of Malawi. A case of a 3-year-old female child was diagnosed with wild-type poliovirus type 1. The case is a child who had no history of traveling outside their own country. And this is important to note because we know that this transmission occurred in the child's own country. So we know that the child did not leave Malawi and got infected in Malawi. The child was investigated in December, and the case was confirmed as a case of poliomyelitis in February of 2022. So what does this mean for the region? This means that within the region, the African region, and in particular the sub-African region, we actually do have transmission of this virus in our community. And that is why we have seen that we have had a lot of activities with polio vaccination in the past 2 months. So we had the first round of polio vaccination in March, on the 21st of March, and we just had the previous campaign, which was on the 26th of April. And it lasted for 4 days, which I hope that all mothers actually took their children who are under 5 years of age to get vaccinated. So now we get back to business of what exactly is polio. So polio is a highly infectious disease, meaning it can be transmitted from one person to another at a very fast rate. One person who has polio has the potential to infect at least 200 other people in the community. And this is very important to note because not everybody that has poliomyelitis or who has been infected with this polio virus is actually going to show signs and symptoms. So some people will have it, but they will not have any symptoms, but they'll be able to transmit that virus to other people. So there are 3 types of poliovirus, type 1, type 2, and type 3. These are called serotypes. So this is important to note because we'll find that when we take our children for vaccination, which is the only way to protect ourselves against the polio virus, we actually will be given different types of vaccines. So we have the BOPV, the bivalent oral polio vaccine, which is given orally to our children with 2 drops in the mouth. Then we also have the IPV, inactivated polio vaccine. So this is given as an injection. Why is it important that our children get all 4 doses of the BOPV and the single dose of the IPV? It is important because these protect against different types of polio viruses. So the oral one that is given is protecting us against the type 1 and type 3. And the inactivated one, which is the IPV, is protecting our children against the type 2 poliovirus. So that is why it is very important that all vaccines are given to all our children for us to say that they are fully protected against the polio virus. So now let's talk about how this virus is actually moved from one person to another. How is it that one can find themselves infected with the polio virus? So when you eat contaminated food, when you drink contaminated water, when you shake the hand of somebody who has the polio virus, maybe on their hands because after using the toilet, they did not use good hygiene practice of washing their hands with soap, then one will be able to get infected with that polio virus. So when that virus is actually in the food or in the water and we ingest it orally, meaning it goes into our mouth, it then starts to multiply, or what we would say in medicine as replicate. So it multiplies in the throat and it also multiplies in the intestines. So when that happens, then it is passed on into the fecal matter, which is the stool. And after that, you're able to continue with either transmitting to other people, causing more infections in the community. So that is what we have on what exactly polio virus is. That gives us what polio is, how it's transmitted, and how it can actually be prevented. So it is important for us to practice good hygiene. After using the toilet, wash your hands with soap to ensure that you are not a source of transmission for this virus to other people. We have children who are at high risk. These are children under 5 years of age who we need to protect. When we are preparing their food, when we are providing them with water, let's make sure that we practice this very good hygiene practice so that we prevent transmission onwards. Okay, so that has been our topic on what exactly is poliomyelitis and how we can prevent poliomyelitis. Again, my name is Dr. Musole Chipoya, epidemiologist at the Zambia National Public Health Institute. Please continue watching Camnet TV. We'll continue with this discussion tomorrow, where we'll be discussing the clinical presentation of poliomyelitis as well as the pathophysiology of how this transmission occurs. Thank you very much and have a good day.
And that's all we had for you on the health corner. You know, it's very much important. I really like the fact that she had to mention on the polio part, which is what is polio,
and also the effects and
yeah,
how
and
you
also
can get it.
Definitely.
I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, it's very bad. You know, once somebody gets affected, it really affects the person badly.
Wait. Polio,
Emolitis.
polio kufana emolitis. Yeah, we never used to know about it. We know who used to get vaccinated against it, but I didn't know that it was such a deadly virus, and it can actually get to the most, and also how you can contact it. That's actually some educative information. Hope you have equally learnt one or two things.
Yes, all you have to do is keep yourself safe, and hygiene is very much important. Whenever you use the toilet, always remember to wash your hands. It's very much important because it spreads so fast that
you know, when she was mentioning how you can get it, it sounded like typhoid. Yeah, contaminated food, contaminated water, and stuff like that. But anyways, remember that you can get in touch with us on 0968-675-273. That's 0968-6572-0273 on the other side. And also remember that right about now we get into the money market and see how the stock exchange rate looks like as of today. So the United States dollar is buying at 16 kwacha 0.85 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 0.18 ngwe, and the British pound is buying at 20 kwacha 0.79 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 0.19 ngwe. The euro is buying at 18 kwacha 0.89 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 0.26 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 0.5 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 0.7 ngwe. That is your money market. Okay, now we quickly get into zooming into the headlines. What story caught your attention in the course of the week?
The one that Bowman Sambo was
granted bail,
he was granted
when he was
bail.
arrested. It's actually we start property being forfeited or seized rather by the state, and then back and forth with the prison, and then bail being granted 20,000 kwacha cash. And then STC refused to say no, they needed to confirm the sureties and stuff like that. So he's going through quite a lot. You know, it reminds me the time of Mr. Chimba, Mr. Chimba Kamwili, when he was going back and forth with the courts of law for like 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel like all this will be sorted out as soon as possible. We're trying to see how far. The matter is still in court, so we're waiting to see how he will be trialed. So let's get into the events of how the case of Mr. Bowman Musambo had been going.
Embattled Kabushi Member of Parliament Bowman Lusambo has been released from the prison cell of Lusaka's Kamwala remand after spending a night. Mr. Lusambo was initially expected to be released on Thursday following the decision by the Lusaka's Magistrate Court to grant him a 20,000 kwacha cash bail with 2 working sureties. However, yesterday, the Anti-Corruption Commission objected to his bail on ground that they needed to verify his sureties. PF Matero, Member of Parliament Maus Sampa, and his Chama South counterpart, Davison Mungandu. The Anti-Corruption Commission communicated with Mr. Lusambo's lawyers that they do not know the sureties and rejected the letters of introduction, saying they needed to accurately verify with the National Assembly. Meanwhile, speaking after Mr. Lusambo's release, PF Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda has alleged that the Anti-Corruption Commission is doing a good job at embarrassing the head of state.
First of all, we are glad and happy that our comrade has finally been released. It's very unfortunate that the SEC are doing a fantastic job to embarrass and decampaign President Againdaicha. The kind of abuse and persecution that the Honorable Boman Lusambo has been subjected to is very unfortunate. The court yesterday granted him bail. We had honorable members who, of course, are known as honorable members of parliament, of course, for Chairman South, Honorable Shakafusa for Mandeva, and Honorable Mosampa for Matero. But yesterday we were told the SEC didn't know these colleagues as members of parliament, and therefore they needed to undertake whatever they called, or what they called, the verification process. All meant to just victimize Honorable Lusambo.
Miriam Kemba reporting for Camnet TV News. He could not help but smile after seeing some of his party members come to offer him solidarity. During his first appearance before the Lusaka's Magistrate Court Thursday morning, former Tourism Minister Ronald Chitotela appeared before Magistrate Jennifer Walia to answer to corruption charges allegations that the Anti-Corruption Commission has slapped him with. But before Mr. Chitotela could take plea and commence with his trial, he is protesting his prosecution by the Anti-Corruption Commission. The lawmaker, who is facing 2 counts of being in possession of property reasonably suspected of being proceeds of crime, has since made an application before Magistrate Walia challenging his prosecution before court. Mr. Chitotela, through his lawyers, has submitted that he had previously entered into a consent settlement agreement with the Anti-Corruption Commission to exempt him from prosecution on these charges. He argues that he cannot be prosecuted on the same facts if he entered into the said consent agreement with SEC. Allegations in the first count are that the accused possessed a property valued at 380,000 kwacha, believed to be proceeds of crime, while in the second count, he is accused of receiving 500,000 kwacha from Vale Construction Limited through RKC Travel and Guides Limited, monies alleged of being proceeds of crime. Meanwhile, the court has since granted him a cash bail of 20,000 kwacha. The court is, however, expected to deliver a ruling on the said application on the 18th of May 2022. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
In case you missed out, well, that is the update. Now, moving on to our second story that made headlines in the course of the week, which is the dumping of a baby.
Yes, the dumping of the baby. Yeah. I think for that one, it has been okay. Like a lot of people are doing that.
It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very much unfortunate, because what's the main point then of keeping the child
all the way up to birth?
Yes,
and then after giving birth,
you dump the baby.
We just pray that it was a trend some time back. I remember, I stand to be corrected on the years, but I think that was between 2015 to 2019. There were quite a number of stories where we could hear babies being dumped.
Yeah.
Others were found alive, others were found dead. And I feel like we need to find a permanent solution to would-be offenders so that in case people are called, they actually sat down and taught a lesson to those, as a certain example to those that would want to do it again.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's take a look at the story and then we'll continue with the conversation on the other side.
Life in densely populated areas like George Compound in Matelo constituency is a wonders complex. It is just last week when a matter surfaced where a man was allegedly defiling his 12-year-old stepdaughter. Tuesday, 3rd May 2022, the residents of the same locality woke up to the news of a woman dumping a newly born baby in the pit latrine. The infant was retrieved by the fire brigade. Emotions were high among members of the general public. Amid the commotion, the suspect was speechless and filled with shame. She had to listen to every negative comment from her neighbors. She had to be rushed into the police vehicle to avoid being lynched by elite members of the general public. The residents wondered why the woman decided to kill the baby. Matelo constituency, Lima Ward 30 councillor Daniel Mwewa has observed with concern the moral degeneration in the community as vices continue to be the order of the day.
As a local leadership, we are so worried and we are so concerned of the happenings in Lima Ward. Just 3 days ago, brothers were fighting, one of them died. Just last week, we had a report where a 44-year-old father was sleeping with a 12-year-old stepdaughter, just within Lima Ward. So I think as leaders, we are so worried what is happening in our community. So especially good
By broadcast time, the Zambia Police Public Relations Unit was yet to give an official position on the matter. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Well, yeah.
It's a really sad story.
Yeah, because
you know, a lot of people have been praying, like they do pray precious, only seeking for a child.
I
then
know.
At the end, God grants you a child, then you dump a baby. It's really...
I don't even know what to say concerning this, so I'll let it go. But anyways, Zambia's journalists and also media personalities in the whole world were actually celebrating World Press Day. We saw the likes of different journalists from different media houses actually come together to celebrate this day. It was quite a very interesting event that occurred, and this is how it went.
In any democratic country, the media is placed fourth from the three arms of government, being the executive, judiciary, legislature, and then the media as the fourth estate. The basic role of the media is to bridge the gap of information by sending across messages of entertainment, educational, and informing in nature. In the course of duty, the digitalization of the world, political interference, among other reasons, have placed journalists, the people charged with the responsibility of correct information dissemination, under threat. With these challenges not being addressed, others have died in the course of duty fighting for correct information dissemination. 3rd May each year is dedicated to the media, aimed at celebrating their space globally. In Zambia, journalists from various media houses turned up to celebrate their day, recognizing the gains and losses made this far under the theme Journalism Under Surveillance. News Diggers managing editor Mukosha Njenga is calling for responsible journalism in the era of social media.
The space where we are right now, with these smartphones comes also a lot of room for surveillance, where there are threats where someone can maybe hack your phone and they can be monitoring who you're talking to and putting your sources at risk, especially with the work that we do at News Diggers, where we are into investigative journalism. We try as much as possible to protect the whistleblowers who come to us, but then there's always a threat from outside because not everyone wants certain information to come to light. So that's where now the issue of surveillance comes.
The theme for me is timely. You realize that we are always being looked at as people that will help in other people giving information that will shape ideas or just basically the talk of the country. So journalism under surveillance basically calls for us to continue doing our job and ensuring that we do it to maybe the best of our capabilities. When you talk about
today's theme, actually reminds us as journalists to cast our nets wider, even as we disseminate our information away from the usual traditional media. If you look at the environment now, more people are accessing information online using various media tools. So this calls for the media to also expand in the manner they inform and disseminate information.
Particularly for a journalist who has over the years faced a lot of challenges, ranging from unconducive working environment to working conditions from respective media houses where we come from. How is this one special? It is special because we have a new government. We have an administration that in opposition promised a conducive working environment for the media.
The media operational space has been marred with conflict, especially with the political party cadres and sometimes the police. But these journalists spoken to acknowledge the significant improvement of the operating space since the United Party for National Development took office.
Given that where we are coming from, there was a lot of threats and intimidations. A lot of media houses were closed down, a lot of threats were made. But then with this new government now, I think we would be unfair if we don't mention the fact that so far, while they have been in office, I think any journalist will attest to the fact that there's this new aura of freedom that we all feel, and we are more able to enjoy our work right now.
I think that we should commend the current government is the issue to do with cadres. I think this was not the situation a few months ago, because you'd always be intimidated by the cadres, but the current regime has put their foot down to ensure that cadres are not there to harass journalists, and I'm only hoping that this will go on for many years to come. That be a bit controversial, but if we are given what we want, I think that's it. We only need to be given what we want.
And so in the new Dawn government, the operating space has been friendly, free from harassment so far, and we hope this continues.
Prudence Chota is Camnet TV senior journalist who says the enactment of the Freedom of Information Bill will further strengthen the ability for journalists to operate freely.
Imagine waking up today and there's no news. People literally have to depend on social media for news. There would be chaos in the world. Newspapers with no news, television with no news, and we tell people to rely on the news that they'll get online. There's going to be information, misinformation. There's going to be information that is not verified. This gives us a perspective of how important mainstream media is. So even as we see a lot of digitalization, as we see a lot of online platforms coming up, as we see a lot of people doing citizen journalism, that does not imply that they are doing the actual work that the journalists do. So it's high time people started appreciating the work that people do.
Lack of the access to information bill, I think this is something that the previous regime spoke about. There was intention for it to be passed. The current regime has spoken about it, but again, what is disappointing is that they're taking it back to different stakeholders for consultations. But I feel for the last 20 or so years we've been talking about this. For me, my understanding is that different issues have already been discussed.
Meanwhile, Charles Zulu is Diamond TV photojournalist, always behind the camera. This time around, is in front of it.
Most of the times when we go out there in the field, we are not given we are not at free liberty to execute our works properly, because sometimes we get caught up in the crossfire. We'll be in the midst of cadres, violence. We are most of the times chased out because people wouldn't want, probably they would prefer not to be filmed, not allowing the journalists to do their work because they feel infringed on their rights, probably on their privacy. But the thing is, we're the fourth estate.
We continue to watch the space as we keep on offering balanced information for the public good, regardless of being under surveillance. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
There you have it, World Press Day, celebrated under the theme Journalism Under Surveillance. I feel freedom of press is slowly getting into where we want it to be, and we're hoping that it continues like that.
It continues like that, even more. You know, we should be given that freedom. We should be given that freedom, you know, not only restricted to certain things or parts, but we should be given that.
We should have access to certain information.
Exactly.
I remember there was a documentary that Mrs. Zambia did talking about access to information bill. I don't know if that has been implemented, where they were asking, or it was kind of a request to allow journalists to have access to all the information that they need, because way back, I feel they were restricted to what they can give out there, and also what information they can get from certain institutions or facilities. So I pray that as we go on, the media industry will be given an opportunity to actually have access to all the information. Of course, they need to be oriented on what they can give out there, and also something that they can filter, which is currently the case. It's not everything that you will actually, the information that you will get is not everything that you report to the public, because you need to understand the type of people that you're dealing with. There's some misinformation, especially on social media, where people even have the right to report wrong things. And then when a certain media house reports a certain story, you take it as the gospel truth because they're the media. But yeah, we're just hoping we get to that position where it's a free environment for journalists and also people that are behind the cameras. But anyways, you're still watching the Camnet Breakfast, and our topic of discussion is Zambia winning the fight against corruption? We've seen quite a number of stories that are currently in court right now. And also we've seen quite a number of former ruling party, which is currently in the opposition, which is the Patriotic Front members, going back and forth with the courts when it comes to cases of corruption. So looking at the current trends, the SEC corruption crusade, are we as Zambians winning the fight against corruption? If you feel there are some things that we need to do to win the fight against corruption, please come through and let us know on 0968 675273. Right about now, we'll take a quick, short break, and then we'll join you on the other side.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
The Bible says, I knew you before I placed you in your mother's womb. Apples and bananas. Work and wait, and this what you've been praying for.
And welcome back from that short break that we had. Precious, what other headline do we have?
Well, another one that we almost forgot about, zooming into the headlines, is one conversation that brought debate in Zambia concerning the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Apparently, we are able to get certain benefits if we sign something with it, according to our finance minister, who is Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane. And there are quite a number of benefits, but it came with mixed feelings, looking at the fact that different stakeholders and different political party members or leaders actually gave their opinion concerning the IMF. But I feel we were supposed to have somebody that was supposed to come and explain what the IMF is about, the benefits and also the disadvantages if it doesn't go through, and also the advantages if it goes through. But I promise we'll actually make a plan on that one. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it. But here is what our finance minister had to say concerning that.
A delegation of Zambian officials comprising the Finance Minister Dr. Situmbeko Msokotwane, Bank of Zambia Governor Dr. Dani Karialia, and Secretary to the Treasury Felix Nkulukusa recently attended the spring meeting of the IMF and the World Bank in Washington, D.C. of the United States of America. The meeting was meant to discuss issues of global concern such as the world economic outlook, poverty reduction, and sustainable economic and social development. And Finance Minister Dr. Msokotwane Friday met the media in Lusaka to update them on the outcomes of the meeting. The minister says the World Bank has agreed to support Zambia with more financing, but that on conditions that the country gets on the IMF program.
The World Bank has provided support, and part of that support will come now, but part of it is conditional upon Zambia getting to a program with the International Monetary Fund. Hence, why it is very important that we get to this formal program with the IMF.
The minister has justified why it is necessary for the Zambian government to borrow from the World Bank and the IMF despite the country being over-indebted.
World Bank money, the interest rate, roughly about 0.5%, and is paid over a long period of time, sometimes as long as 30 years. Okay? So it makes sense, it makes economic sense to get this cheap and long-term money as you sort out other issues of the economy.
And when asked why the conditionalities of the IMF program have been kept a secret from the Zambian people, the minister assured that the conditionalities are not meant to punish the people of Zambia.
I think those who tend to put fear and say when the IMF program comes, then you'll be thrown out of jobs, things will go up. Those are people maybe who are talking about the experiences from the past. But as of now, this is a very much transformed IMF.
Meanwhile, Secretary to the Treasury Felix Nkulukusa has justified why the conditionalities of the IMF have not yet been made available to the Zambian people.
That the conditionalities that you want are the conditionalities that we gave ourselves in the budget. The minister announced those conditions. And the only reason we have not shared the program, the staff level agreement, is because we are looking at updating the macros as it is going to the board. Because if we share it, it means it is that program that we need to take.
And Mr. Nkulukusa says the World Bank under the IDA loans may give Zambia up to $564 million United States dollars and an additional $275 million under the IDA 19.
We now have mobilized and will be able to get the resources of about $564 million. This was the allocation under IDA 19. It's about 100 of each was already committed, and the 500 was not committed because of the challenges we had on the debt situation.
And Dr. Msokotwane has since appealed to all stakeholders to make their 2023 budget submissions to the Ministry of Finance, especially on tax proposals. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Okay, there you have it. Like I mentioned earlier, I personally don't understand the deep information about the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and also, well, we know what the World Bank does and how many countries it aids or how many countries it funds and stuff like that. But then we need a proper explanation to what it is to someone who doesn't really know what this is about.
Absolutely. I think we should bring one, we should invite, we should have a guest one of this Saturday so that he or she can try explain what's all about the IMF, because not everybody's has the information concerning the IMF.
Yes, and also I feel like most sensitization needs to be done before, or not before, while these certain things are in process, so that people get to understand, especially those that don't have access to certain devices that will allow them to search. For you and me, it's very easy to know about certain information. Right about now, if we were to go and Google or search about what IMF is about and get into the more information about it, I might read but not understand. But then they need to be talked to about this whole thing on radios and these other devices that we can get in touch with them with, because they don't even know, even though we were to actually sign something with the IMF, what do they call it? Layman's language? In layman's language, they need to understand. But if they don't, it's one of those things whereby certain things are happening out there, and because a country or a ministry has decided to do it, there's certain people that don't care that it has been done. But then we all need to be moving on the same page. And also one other story, while we're still zooming into the headlines, that caught my attention. I found it a little funny, but then it's quite serious, where a former agriculture extension officer actually got properties that belong to the government, and also some government schools, a community primary school, because he feels, or he is saying, that they were built in his farm. So he locked them down, got also a tank that had 5,000 liters of milk from a certain cooperative, and it had to take Mr. Elijah Mchima, who came through to just see what the talk was about, because the community were complaining, and also a church, which is the Seventh-day Adventist, the Catholic, had to relocate because of the land disputes. And this is what happened.
Land issues remain a challenge the country continues to grapple with, and successive governments have continued to pursue diverse land matters. The latest development is that involving a 71-year-old former Minister of Agriculture Extension officer identified as Mobila Sinyama, who was grabbed a 3x3 classroom block belonging to the government in Moses Kayuni area claiming that it was built in his farm. Mr. Sinyama has also locked up the Kayuni Dairy Cooperative with 5,000 liters of milk in it belonging to the farmers, claiming that it is also in his farm. This came to light when Minister of Land and Natural Resources Elijah Muchima visited the area following concerns raised by the community.
No. I will show you the paper. Yeah, the paper says the government has not seen a thing. Okay. I bought my own money. Oh, you bought your farm with your own money.
Facts leading to this land dispute are that in 1990, Mr. Sinyama, being a government worker in the Ministry of Agriculture, was offered to buy a government house, being a sitting tenant, but later increased the land to 21.5 hectares, which is now under dispute. The land in question, which is farm number 39A, also has 40 farms in it. The Kayuni community members, however, took the matter to court, with judgment being in favor of Mr. Sinyama, who told the land minister that he is ready to dialogue with the government over the matter.
Yes, I can do so with them, with the minister, encouragement, and I have the papers to remove them. Even now I'm talking. If I'm talking, you have papers to remove them out. The Supreme Court knows this one. Court of Appeal, after it was ordered even from the Court of Appeal.
But Kayuni Dairy Farmers Cooperative Chairperson Dolin Kabunda says there was an error in awarding Mr. Sinyama the disputed land, as he only bought a single unit and not the whole farm, thus calling for government intervention.
Currently, just looking at the cooperative that has been closed, that has been the major source of income for people around here. They milk their cows, they expect to take the milk to be sold to the cooperative, and then they need to earn dividends from the cooperative, but that cannot happen. So for us, time is of essence here. From October last year, we have had the operations have not been running. This man has been harassing people here since, I don't know, 1990 something. So we really just want to appeal to the new Dawn government to help us in this area. It is sad that vulnerable people are being treated like this.
And in response, Land Minister Elijah Muchima promised to look at available pieces of legislations dealing with the matter.
To what extent the government was awarding or selling these houses? If it was a community, a big community that was sold to the community, I would understand, not an individual taking charge of all government infrastructure and wanting government to leave room to him. It is him to leave infrastructure for the government. That's exactly what I can say. Look, it's a deep tank put up using CDF, which is JRZ. There is a cooperative. There is a school, several houses for teachers. As we speak, the children, community, this nursery school, they are not going to school. It's advantaged. People are living in fear. I'm told they have been served with letters to move away from here. Government is here to protect the interests of the people. We are going to look at this matter.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Well, welcome back. I only feel that that should be I found it funny, honestly speaking. I found it so funny.
Yeah.
He was so confident when he was talking. And now in my head, I'm thinking, where was he all along for him to come out now and say that they built on his land, in his farm? Where was he all along?
He just came in now.
From where? That's his farm, so he claims. We're just hoping that that story will be sorted out. And also, on a sad note, the country lost one of
the former Minister of Finance,
Mr. Alexander Chkwanda. Yes, we pray that God gives bereaved families strength to go through this hard times, and also we just pray that the country mourns in peace, and may his soul rest in peace. It's actually, I feel like there's a lot that has been going on with all this deaths of people that were once in government. There's just this heavy air around when it happens. And we're praying that for those of you that are able to visit the the funeral house and writing the book of condolences, you can do so, and stuff like that. So yeah,
it's very much important.
What, you want to go? We go? I think it's time to go.
Is it time to go?
No, before we go, our topic of discussion for today, which is Zambia winning the fight against corruption? Yes or no, and why? Whatever reason you give, yes or no, and why?
Okay, for me, I think, okay, I won't think, but it is fighting, trying by all means. Though at some point, you know, sometimes it takes you and me to have self-discipline and also to have certain principles that we need to follow. Even as you are viewing this, as you are viewing me right now, hearing me, you also have to have your own principles and certain things that you have to follow in order to win out the fighting over corruption in our country. Yes. So I think we're trying by all means to fight.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. It can't be compared to how we were.
Honestly speaking, I feel like we have been here before, where we get to have stories and stories of people being arrested for corruption. And then at some point, I remember there was such a trend some time back, and then it all just went quiet. And then I feel we're not given enough updates on how far certain cases have gone, how far investigations have gone. Of course, there's certain stories or matters that are in court and can't be discussed yet until a final judgment is given. So I love the current trend right now, though people have received it with mixed feelings, especially opposition political parties. They feel they're being witch hunted. They feel they're just being targeted because they're in opposition. But I pray that as we move on, it's going to be one of those things where well, currently we know that the Anti-Corruption Commission is an independent organization and is not working, is not influenced by anybody, either opposition or main political parties. So I feel we're getting there with time.
We're getting there with time.
We're getting there with time. But then let's not forget that corruption is not only about those that are in government. Okay, it happens everywhere, in markets, in schools, even in the houses.
Yeah, it does.
Like we do that to our siblings, where you have to pay them like a little something so that you get something else, or for them to keep quiet. All those things, those are corruption, but they've been there for the longest time. We've grown up with these things. Now, as we grow, we need to understand that these are habituous behaviors, or the things that you've been doing when you're growing up. So when you get to a certain level, it looks normal, but you will be arrested, especially if you get a lot of money. Yeah, especially if you're also in government. And also on the other side, SEC is trying its best to get to where it wants to be when it comes to the fight against corruption. So yeah,
we're getting there.
We are getting there.
We're getting there.
Out of 10, I would give us a 4.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'll lift it to 5.
Half.
4.5.
Is Zambia winning the fight against corruption was our topic of discussion. So in case you've written us anything on Facebook, we'll take a look at that. And also remember that you can come through. We'll be packing our bags in the next 60 seconds, but yeah, so 0968675273 is the number you can catch us on if you want to catch us right now before we go. And also on the other side, we pray that you make it again next week.
Next week.
Yes, there's something I wanted to talk about, but it has just, it's gone.
I think let's talk about the adoptions which is happening in our country.
Yes, I think that's what I wanted to talk about as closing remarks.
It's very much important. You have to move safe, stay safe, you know.
Be safe.
Yeah, and be safe. It's very much important, as we can see and tell that we are having certain how can we refer this to?
Certain my brain just froze. But anyways, what we're trying to say is that there are a lot of abductions that are going through. But anyway, when you get to, for those of us that still uses public transport, I pray for that car load. I see it coming. Amen. For those that are still using public transport, I feel like, you know, sometimes you need to trust your instincts, especially those that get on buses that go really far, like Chilanga, Kafiwe, and you're coming on the other side of town from or to. your conscience will tell you when something is not right. Okay, these are happening just in our communities. There was a story that I saw on TikTok just the other day where this girl was talking about how this man came to her booth and told her that he needed her to teach certain people about the Airtel booths and also mobile providers booths, and also how the money transfers work, and also certain people that they need to teach and how she can orient them. And then she was told that there's a certain amount that she can get after she teaches those people. So now the thing is that after she agreed, the man told her to go with him so that she can finalize on the agreement that they had. So she told the man that she will call the person, because the person that man was talking about, the girl knew the person. So after the man left, she followed, not really followed him, she stayed back but watched him to see where he was going. And then she discovered that man just got into a car and drove off. And he learned about the person that he was talking about that knew the girl. Not even far, it's too close from home. I was actually almost a victim, because in the morning I leave the house at about 6:30 because there's a certain project I'm doing. So when I leave the house, okay, in the morning, there was a day I was at the bus station waiting quite early, and there were like just people passing, there were no cars coming through. So I stood there for a very long time. So this whole truck came through, this man parked and then came to tell me, let me give you a lift. Okay, and that's how it starts.
Yeah, definitely. That's how it starts.
It's the common things that you hear. Let me give you a lift.
Let me give you a lift.
And for those that hike and stay in places where there are no buses, oh, let me give you a lift and drop you to where you're going. He just said, let me give you a lift for free up to town. And I thought to myself, I don't know you, you don't know me. No, and it's early in the morning, like, there will be no way of tracing me. So it's the common words that you hear. Let me give you a lift. Where are you going? How far are you going? So just be careful. Yes, and it's not only women. This also happens to men.
Men as well.
Yeah, there was a man that was attacked on a bus. He thought he was with his fellow passengers.
Definitely,
but it was all gone. They got his phone, they got his money and stuff like that. But luckily, he is still alive and he survived. So we're praying that you just take care of yourself, okay,
and always keep safe. It's very much
don't trust nobody. Move at don't move alone at awkward hours, especially those that stay in farm areas. It's quite dangerous. Just be safe. If you're going home late, call somebody to start following you, or find somebody to escort you and stuff like that. Just be safe. This goes to both women and women and men, and also girls and boys.
Yes.
So yeah, that being said, we can go now.
It's a goodbye for today.
Yes.
And see you next week, Saturday, right here at Camnet TV, not just another channel. I'm Sarah Chandamvanga, and I'm with Precious Mosea Sakaleji.
Yes,
pronounce it so well today.
And also on behalf of Isaac Chifita and Amos Lungu on the other side, it's a good morning. Thank you for watching and have a beautiful day.